Now that Reignited has been out for a while, Toys for Bob is likely working on the next Spyro game, but I got a feeling it could be even better than Spyro Reignited. How? Let's talk about it! What's up guys, Canadian Guy here, and I am back with a Spyro video. I know, it's been a while. I've been talking about CTR so much and I absolutely love it, but it also feels good to be back and talking about the Purple Boy. Now, Reignited was great. It did many things like refresh our nostalgia and make us all giddy with excitement to be playing old adventures with Spyro again. Though the Reignited trilogy did many things right, they did one thing that stands out from all of it. That is simply, they brought back Spyro into relevancy. Spyro is no longer a name talked among fans as strangers in public look on in confusion as they hear a name that is familiar but haven't heard in years. Spyro is now back in the current event's limelight, and not as a franchise that died out in the PlayStation era. It has brought newcomers who are into the Legend of Spyro and Skylander franchises to try the origins of Spyro. Because of the fact that Spyro has essentially three fan bases backing it, the OG fan base, the Legend of Spyro, and Skylander fan base, I think it's safe to say that Spyro is going to be sticking around for a while. However, what if I told you the next game could be even better than Reignited? There's a few reasons why. It is public knowledge that the development for Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy was fairly short and with only a few staff. Especially with what they had, they did a fantastic job. Now, the CEO at the time had said that they did not expect the success of Crash to be as large when they decided to greenlight the project. Remember, they were not expecting the success of Crash to be this large, and then Spyro came out the following year due to the success of making Crash. So logically speaking, the development time for Spyro was short as well. I mean, we can use our heads. If Crash came out in June of 2017 and Spyro was originally slated to be released in September of 2018, that's 17 months of development when you include the delay. And that's if Spyro was greenlit right as Crash came out. Now, I doubt Spyro was greenlit right away because, as I said, they did not expect Crash to be this successful. So due to the success of Crash, Spyro started up afterwards. So it was likely less than 17 months to make 3 games from the ground up with no source code from Insomniac. That is an incredible feat to achieve. But what does the development of Reignited have to do with Spyro 4? Actually, a lot. And no, Enter the Dragonfly is not Spyro 4. We can call it Spyro Enter the Dumpster Fire instead. Or maybe Spyro Enter the Paper Shredder. Or Spyro Enter the Toilet. Whatever you want to call it, this game is not Spyro 4. It lost that privilege right when someone approved of this animation. Quality! See, Activision originally seemingly underestimated the sheer force these old IPs brought to the table, and are now understanding that these games bring the thunder. I mean, they recently announced that Crash Bandicoot had sold 10 million copies, which is an astronomical feat in the gaming world. Spyro also broke records when it was released as the Reignited trilogy was the #1 game in terms of sales in its opening week in the franchise's history, as in no other Spyro game sold as much in the opening week as Reignited did. We also see that in CTR, that Activision was ready this time. The amount of content that is in this game is absolutely insane. Therefore, Activision seems to be more prepared than they were when it comes to these IPs. But how does this all apply to Spyro 4? Well, here's the thing. Toys for Bob created the Spyro Reignited trilogy in a short period of time. It was also 3 games that they had to build from the ground up. Imagine if they were given about 2 times the amount of time and only had to work on 1 game. What great content could they make? Well, this might be exactly what is happening. As mentioned before, Activision was ready this time, and when it came to Crash Team Racing, likely setting up a proper workflow between the franchises. This would mean that Activision now has a better understanding of the might that these franchises bring and will give more resources to the developers of these games. Meaning Spyro 4 will have access to a better workflow and likely will have more development time, and that means that likely the game was approved right after Reignited came out and there was no wait time like what happened after Crash N. Sane came out. We also have observed on this channel a pattern within Activision and these IPs. Activision needs to release at least one family-friendly game per year. This has been happening for many years with Skylanders, and we have even seen it recently even though Skylanders is gone. 2017 was Crash Bandicoot Insane, 2018 was Spyro Reignited, and 2019 is going to be Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. Now to me, there is a debate on whether or not the next Spyro game will be in 2020 or 2021, because Beanox is developing CTR and not Vicarious Visions. Therefore, what has Vicarious Visions been working on in terms of a regular Crash installment? But that's for a separate video. Either or, if Spyro 4 were to come out in 2020 or 2021, it would had to have had more development time than Reignited did, and the workload would be much more manageable for Toys for Bob because it would only be one game. Even if the game was longer in length, the workload is lighter in terms of scope. But on top of that, there's something else, and it has nothing to do with the developers, but to us as fans. See, many things that I saw on Twitter and on my comment sections were people comparing the game to the originals, pointing out things like, oh, I like this better than the original, or the original thing is better than the Reignited thing. When it came to music, character design, you named it. And these comparisons are completely okay to say. We all have opinions and have our ties to the originals, me included. But when Spyro 4 comes out, there wouldn't be anything to compare it to. We couldn't turn and say one aspect was better than the original because it would be an original game. Toys for Bob needs to be able to flex their creative minds, however, and muscles to be able to replicate a spiritual successor to Insomniac's world. As long as Toys for Bob sticks to the whimsical, nut-jobby, nonsensical, sometimes Willy Wonka-like world of Spyro, I have confidence and faith in them as they handle the Reignited trilogy with grace and class, and I can't wait to see what they do for an original Spyro game. But what do you guys want to see in a Spyro 4? Comment below and let me know. By the way, a huge shout out to my Patreon and sponsors on the channel. I appreciate your support and letting me be able to do this full time as I got a family to feed. If you want to support the channel, the Patreon is in the description below, and be sure to subscribe for more nostalgic content. And while you're at it, why not check out another video I recently made? Anyway guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.